The year is 1980, and in the world of United States coinage, the Lincoln 1-cent penny stood as one of the most widely circulated coins in the country. Millions of these small copper-coated pieces changed hands every day, buying candy, paying for parking meters, being dropped in glass jars across kitchen tables, and filling pockets across America. Yet hidden within this ordinary sea of pennies exists a story of rarity, uniqueness, and immense value. Today we are diving into the story of the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, its history, the circumstances of its creation, and how an everyday coin became one of the most talked about treasures in the world of numismatics, with some specimens reaching astonishing values like $72,323 in today's market. To understand the importance of the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, we first need to journey back to the beginning of the Lincoln penny itself. The Lincoln 1-cent coin was first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It marked the very first time in American history that a U.S. president was depicted on circulating coinage. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin featured a simple yet powerful portrait of President Lincoln, while the reverse originally displayed two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, which is why those early coins became famously known as wheat pennies. For decades, collectors have chased down wheat pennies in pristine condition as well as rare varieties, but the Lincoln cent would go through major changes in both design and composition that would eventually set the stage for the unusual situation that makes the 1980 no-mint mark penny so intriguing. By 1959, the U.S. Mint replaced the wheat stalks on the reverse with the Lincoln Memorial design in honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The new design, created by Frank Gasparo, showed the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., and if you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can actually see a tiny outline of the Lincoln statue seated inside. That was a neat little hidden detail many people never noticed until they became collectors. These pennies remained in circulation from 1959 all the way until the design changed again in 2009. Now let us look at the significance of mint marks. Mint marks are small letters placed on coins to indicate at which U.S. Mint facility the coin was struck. By 1980, the United States Mint had multiple production facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins struck in Denver received a D mint mark, while those struck in San Francisco generally carried an S mint mark. Philadelphia was historically the main mint, and for most of its history, coins from Philadelphia did not carry any mint mark at all. That is why when you find a coin with no mint mark, it is almost always assumed to have been struck in Philadelphia. However, this general rule became complicated in 1980. In the late 1970s and entering the 1980s, the U.S. Mint underwent changes in how mint marks were applied to coinage. Before this period, mint marks were physically punched into coin dies by hand, meaning it was very possible for human error to occur. Sometimes a mint worker might forget to punch the mint mark onto a die or strike it faintly or in the wrong location. This created error coins that became very valuable to collectors. But beginning in 1980, the U.S. Mint began transitioning into automated systems where mint marks were included on the master die itself, eliminating the hand punching process. This transition is one of the main reasons why a coin from 1980 without a mint mark holds special significance, because it reflects a very unusual and rare occurrence right in the middle of this major technological shift in minting practices. Most 1980 pennies from Philadelphia should actually have no mint mark, which sounds ordinary, but here's where it gets fascinating. Some coins struck during this year came out with very specific striking characteristics that made them stand out from the massive number of ordinary pennies. These special coins show up with unique die qualities, error characteristics, and striking conditions that place them in a category above the common copper-plated cents of their time. It is also crucial to understand the composition of the 1980 Lincoln penny. Unlike pennies minted after 1982, which were made primarily of zinc coated with copper, the 1980 penny was still composed mostly of copper. Each coin contained about 95% copper and 5% zinc, making them heavier and more durable than the zinc-based coins that would follow. Because of the rising cost of copper during the late 1970s and early 1980s, the mint decided to change the composition in 1982 to reduce expenses. This means that 1980 pennies belong to the final few years of full copper Lincoln cents, making them already more desirable to collectors even without an error or special variety. Now let's talk about how value plays into this story. The vast majority of 1980 no-mint mark pennies are worth just face value 1 cent. You can find them in circulation today, and they are extremely common. However, in the world of numismatics, rarity, condition, and collector demand are the key drivers of value. While ordinary circulated 1980 pennies may only be worth a penny or two, their value skyrockets when you find a coin in mint state condition, especially with no wear and brilliant luster preserved. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC evaluate these coins and assign them a grade on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with higher grades meaning better condition. For example, a 1980 no-mint mark penny graded in mint state 65 red, which means the coin has full original red copper color and no significant marks, can sell for several $100s. Push that grade higher into mint state 67 red or better, and the value can reach into the thousands. And for the rarest of the rare, the top-graded examples sold at auction have achieved astonishing results, with one of the finest known examples being valued at an incredible $72,323. This is a jaw-dropping figure, considering we are talking about a 1-cent coin that most people would ignore in their change jar. So how do you know if you have one of these special coins? First, take a close look at the date, and check for the absence of any mint mark under the year 1980. If there is no D or S present, you may indeed be looking at a Philadelphia struck coin. But beyond that condition is everything. A coin that has been circulated with scratches, wear, and discoloration will not bring much premium value. However, if you discover a coin in uncirculated condition with brilliant red luster, you may be holding something extraordinary. Some collectors also pay attention to varieties and errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or misaligned dies, which can make a coin even more valuable. The story of this coin also connects to the broader picture of how collectors view Lincoln cents. For over a century, the Lincoln penny has been one of the most popular series among U.S. coin collectors. From the classic 1909 SVDB penny to the 1943 steel cent, and all the way up to rare varieties like the 1955 double die, collectors have always had a fascination with the penny. The 1980 no-mint mark penny adds another layer to this long tradition, showing that even in the modern era, rare varieties and top-condition examples can reach incredible values. When we think about why people are willing to pay so much money for a coin like this, it goes beyond the metal content or face value. It is about history, it is about rarity, it is about owning something that very few other people in the world can claim to have. A $72,000 penny represents not just a coin but a story, a piece of American heritage, and a symbol of the fascinating unpredictability of collecting. Imagine finding one of these coins in your pocket change. You might not even notice it at first because to the untrained eye it looks like any other penny. But with knowledge, patience, and a careful eye, you could uncover a hidden treasure worth more than a luxury car or even a down payment on a house. That is the magic of numismatics, and the reason why collectors spend countless hours searching rolls of coins, attending coin shows, and scouring auctions. Over the years, auction houses have reported remarkable sales of 1980 no-mint mark pennies. The highest graded specimens with blazing red color and perfect strike have drawn fierce bidding wars from collectors across the globe. Each sale pushes the coin further into the spotlight, reminding everyone that even modern-era coins can carry astonishing value. This also drives more people to re-examine their own pocket change and coin collections, hoping to strike gold in the form of copper. As we reflect on this story, it is important to note that coin values can change over time. The market for collectibles rises and falls with demand, economic conditions, and new discoveries. Right now, the record for a top-graded 1980 no-mint mark penny sits at $72,323, but who knows what the future holds. Perhaps an even higher grade coin will be discovered someday, breaking records once again. Or perhaps the growing interest of younger generations in coin collecting will continue to drive prices upward. So, the next time you come across a 1980 penny in your change, take a closer look. Think about the history, the composition, the minting process, and the journey of that coin. Remember that what seems ordinary can in fact be extraordinary. The 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is proof that hidden treasures still exist in the most unexpected places. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins that has been turning heads in the numismatic world, the 1994 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. This small copper-plated zinc coin may look ordinary to the untrained eye, but when you begin to explore its history, design errors, and market value, you realize that it is anything but ordinary. In fact, some examples of this coin have been known to reach staggering amounts at auction, with current valuation soaring as high as $89,645. That is an incredible figure for a coin that most people may have simply overlooked in their pocket change. Now, before we get into the current market value and how collectors are chasing after this piece, let us first take a step back and understand the history behind the Lincoln cent itself, and the story of the Denver Mint mark, which appears on the 1994 penny. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Lincoln was chosen because he represented unity, strength, and leadership during one of the most divided times in American history, the Civil War. The coin was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB can still be found on the obverse of certain issues. The design features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right, with the word Liberty positioned to his left, and the motto "In God We Trust" running across the top of the coin. The date of issue is displayed on the right side of Lincoln's portrait, and if the coin was minted in Denver, you will see a small letter D just beneath the date. That D is what identifies this penny as a Denver Mint strike. The reverse of the 1994 penny still featured the Lincoln Memorial, which had been adopted in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design replaced the original wheat ears reverse used from 1909 to 1958. The Lincoln Memorial reverse was designed by Frank Gasparo, and it remained in use until 2008. When we talk about the 1994 D penny, it is important to understand the role of the Denver Mint. The United States Mint operates several facilities, but the Denver Mint is one of the most prolific. It has produced billions of coins over the decades, including the Lincoln cent. The D Mint mark tells collectors exactly where the coin originated, and in the case of the 1994 issue, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of pennies, making the coin common in circulation, at least in its ordinary form. So why then would any 1994 D penny command such extraordinary value? The answer lies in the world of errors, varieties, and condition grading. Not every 1994 D penny is worth a fortune. In fact, the overwhelming majority of these coins are only worth face value, just 1 cent. But for collectors, the hunt is always for coins that stand out, either through minting errors or through pristine condition. Examples graded in the highest mint state or proof-like categories can sell for tremendous amounts because they are so rare. Let us begin by looking at condition. When coins are struck at the mint, they enter circulation and quickly begin to accumulate scratches, wear, and dings from everyday use. A penny that has been in circulation for decades will look dull and worn down. However, a coin that somehow avoided circulation and remained in near perfect condition can achieve high grades from professional grading services such as PCGS, or NGC grades such as MS67, MS68, and above are exceptionally difficult to obtain for modern coins like the 1994 D penny, and this is one of the main reasons why they sell for so much in auctions. Collectors compete aggressively for these top pop examples, knowing that only a handful exist in such high grades. Now let us discuss varieties and errors. Coin errors occur during the minting process and can include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, repunched mint marks, and many other forms of striking anomalies. Some of the most valuable Lincoln cents are those that display dramatic double die obverse features, such as the famous 1955 double die or the 1969 S double die. While the 1994 D penny is not as well known for such extreme doubling, there are known minor double dies and other striking issues that add to its desirability. In some cases, coins may display plating blisters or die breaks that create unusual raised lines or bumps on the surface, making them unique collectibles. Another factor that increases the value of the 1994 D penny is its place in the larger Lincoln cent series. Collectors often strive to build complete sets of Lincoln cents from 1909 all the way to the present day, and this requires finding not only the common examples but also the rare and valuable ones. When a collector wants to complete a high-grade set, they must obtain a top-quality example of the 1994 D penny, and because so few exist in the highest grades, competition drives the price up dramatically. This is why some auction sales have seen these coins reach values in the tens of thousands of dollars. Let us explore some of the actual sales history recorded in the marketplace. For example, certain high-grade mint state 1994 D Lincoln cents graded MS68 red have sold for extraordinary sums, with records surpassing $80,000. These coins are nearly flawless, showing sharp details, full red luster, and virtually no contact marks. The population of such coins is extremely low, which means that even though hundreds of millions were struck, only a tiny fraction survived in such pristine condition. The rarity is not in the number minted but in the number preserved at the highest quality levels. When we think about coin collecting, it is also important to remember the human side of the story. Countless people have found rare coins in pocket change, rolls of pennies from the bank, or inherited collections from relatives. The dream of finding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars in a jar of spare change is what keeps the hobby alive and exciting. The 1994 D penny is a perfect example of this possibility. Imagine finding a penny that you would normally overlook, but discovering that in gem condition it could be worth close to $90,000. That is the magic of numismatics. Now let us walk through the key factors that determine the value of a 1994 D penny. The first factor is color. Lincoln cents are graded not only by condition but also by color. Designations red brown and red brown. A coin that retains its original bright red copper color is far more desirable than one that has toned to brown over the years. Next, we consider strike quality. A sharply struck coin with full details in Lincoln's hair and the Lincoln Memorial will be worth more than a weakly struck example. Eye appeal is another major factor. Coins with vibrant luster and no distracting marks or spots are more attractive to buyers. In addition, professional certification plays a crucial role. Uncertified coins, even in high grade, can be difficult to sell for top dollar because buyers want the assurance that comes from a trusted grading service. This is why collectors send their coins to PCGS or NGC for encapsulation and grading. It provides authentication, preservation, and an official grade that can make or break the coin's value. Moving deeper into the history of the Lincoln cent, we see how the series has evolved over the years, from its wheat cent beginnings to the Lincoln Memorial design and finally to the more modern Lincoln Shield reverse introduced in 2010. Throughout these changes, collectors have remained dedicated to building complete collections and studying the nuances of each date and mint mark. The 1994 D penny fits into this larger narrative as a modern coin that nonetheless carries the potential for great value due to rarity in condition and collector demand. Let us also consider the broader market trends for Lincoln cents coins like the 1909 SVDB, the 1914D, and the 1955 double die are legendary rarities, but even more modern issues like the 1994D are gaining recognition in the numismatic community, as high-grade examples continue to set records at auction. The growth of online marketplaces such as Heritage Auctions and eBay has also made it easier for collectors to research and acquire rare coins, driving more attention and competition in the marketplace. At this point, you may be wondering how you can identify whether your own 1994 D penny is valuable. The first step is to examine the coin closely under good lighting and perhaps a magnifying glass. Look for strong original red luster, minimal marks, and sharp strike details. If you believe your coin might be in gem condition, it may be worth submitting it to a grading service for evaluation. However, keep in mind that only the very top graded examples are bringing those sky-high prices. Most circulated 1994 D pennies will still be worth just face value or perhaps a small premium to collectors if they are in better than average condition. The thrill of collecting lies in the possibility, though you never know what might be sitting in a box of old coins in your home. The 1994 D penny has proven that even modern issues can surprise collectors with unexpected value, and as more people become interested in coin collecting, the demand for these rarities is only likely to increase. This is why the current market value of the finest examples has reached $89,645 and why future sales could push that figure even higher. Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we are going to dive deep into the fascinating world of United States coinage, and more specifically we are going to explore one of the most interesting and rare 1-cent penny coins ever discovered, the 1995 no mint mark Lincoln penny coin that today carries an astonishing current market value of $78,334. This coin is not just an ordinary piece of change you find in your pocket, it is a treasure that carries history, rarity, and value that has shocked collectors around the world. Let us begin with the historical background of the Lincoln cent, because to understand why this particular coin is so valuable, we need to go back in time. The Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The United States Mint decided to honor Lincoln because he was one of the most admired leaders in American history, and it was also the very first time that a real person appeared on a circulating American coin. Before this era, coins usually displayed symbols like Lady Liberty or other allegorical figures, but in 1909 Victor David Brenner, a talented sculptor, was chosen to design the new penny, and his portrait of Abraham Lincoln was placed on the obverse or front of the coin. For decades, the Lincoln penny has gone through many changes, from the wheat ears reverse design that ran from 1909 until 1958 to the memorial reverse that started in 1959 in honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The design kept evolving, and collectors have studied every detail, from small changes in lettering to doubling of images and even errors that slipped past the mint. This is where the story of the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny becomes truly fascinating. Now let us focus on the year 1995. During this time, the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents at several facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Normally, coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint do not carry a mint mark, while coins from Denver carry the letter D and coins from San Francisco usually carry the letter S, especially for proof coins. However, what makes the 1995 penny stand out is not just the absence of a mint mark, but a combination of striking characteristics and extreme rarity. The Philadelphia Mint in 1995 produced a massive number of pennies, but among them only a tiny fraction displayed unique details that later caught the attention of numismatists. What makes this particular 1995 no-mint mark penny worth more than $78,000 is not only that it was struck in Philadelphia without the mark, but that it comes from a very rare category of high-grade error-free coins with perfect strike quality. Collectors prize examples like this because they represent the absolute best of the best in terms of condition, rarity, and desirability. Now let us dive deeper into why condition matters so much. In coin collecting, condition is graded on a scale from 1 to 70, where 70 represents a coin in flawless mint state condition. The 1995 no-mint mark penny that has reached the market value of $78,334 is graded at the very highest levels, which means it looks exactly as it did the day it was struck nearly 3 decades ago. The shine, the luster, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, and the crispness of the lettering all contribute to making this coin extraordinary. Collectors are willing to pay massive amounts for such pristine examples because only a handful survive in such condition. We must also understand the psychology of coin collectors. For many collectors, owning a rare penny like this is more than just about money, it is about history, pride, and achievement. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that millions of people overlook every single day, yet in this particular state it could change your life. A penny worth $78,000 is a true reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight. The story of the 1995 penny is also connected to one of the most famous errors in coinage history, the 1995 double die obverse penny. This variety shows clear doubling in the words liberty, and in God we trust, and in the date 1995 itself. While those double die examples are highly collectible and worth thousands of dollars depending on grade, the no-mint mark pristine Philadelphia struck penny in its perfect state goes even further in value. It is not necessarily an error coin, but instead a perfect storm of rarity, grade, and demand. Collectors at major auctions have competed fiercely to own one of these coins. Auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have reported record-breaking sales whenever such coins come to the market. In many cases, bidding wars erupt as collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents want to complete their sets with the finest examples known. When you combine rarity with competitive demand, the result is a skyrocketing price tag such as the $78,334 achieved by one of these remarkable coins. Now let us take a closer look at how you might identify whether you have a valuable 1995 penny. First, examine the obverse side, which features Abraham Lincoln. Check the details in his portrait and look closely at the date. If you notice any doubling in the lettering or date, you may have a double die, which alone can be valuable. Next, check the reverse side, which shows the Lincoln Memorial. Make sure there are no unusual die cracks or other mint errors which could also increase value. Finally, consider the overall condition of the coin. If it shows no scratches, no discoloration, and has sharp details, it may be worth grading professionally. Professional grading is done by organizations such as the Professional Coin Grading Service known as PCGS or the Numismatic Guarantee Company known as NGC. These services authenticate the coin, assign a grade, and encapsulate it in a protective holder. A 1995 penny that is authenticated and graded at the highest levels can transform from a simple 1-cent piece to a life-changing treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. The story of this coin teaches us an important lesson about paying attention to the small details. Every day, millions of pennies pass through people's hands, and most are ignored, but once in a while someone discovers a gem that makes headlines. Imagine finding such a coin in your change jar, in a drawer, or even in an old collection inherited from a relative. That is why collectors always encourage others to check their coins, because you never know what you might uncover. The cultural significance of coins like this also deserves mention. Coins are more than money, they are small pieces of art, history, and national identity. When you hold a Lincoln cent, you hold a piece of America's story, from the Civil War president to the struggles of the 20th century and beyond. The fact that one of these coins can be worth over $78,000 today shows just how much passion collectors have for preserving and celebrating history. So, what is the future outlook for the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? Experts believe that prices could continue to rise as more collectors enter the market, and as pristine examples become harder to find. Unlike many modern coins, which are produced in enormous quantities and often saved in uncirculated rolls, the 1995 penny was mostly used in everyday circulation, which means very few were preserved in mint state condition. As time goes on, fewer perfect examples will remain, which naturally pushes the value even higher. To summarize the journey, we began with the origins of the Lincoln cent in 1909. We looked at the design history and the transition through decades. We examined the unique aspects of the 1995 no-mint mark penny, its rarity, its condition, and its auction results, and we reflected on the cultural meaning of collecting coins. The current market value of $78,334 is not just a number, it is proof of how something so small can carry enormous importance. As we close this video, remember to always check your change, your jars, your collections, and even your family heirlooms, because treasures can appear where you least expect them. The story of the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny shows us that history is alive in our pockets, and sometimes it is worth more than we ever imagined. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into one of the most fascinating pennies in United States history. If you enjoyed this exploration and want to learn more about valuable coins, rare errors, and the secrets hidden in everyday money, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more amazing stories to life, and together we will continue uncovering the hidden treasures of numismatics. Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we are going to dive into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in the world of coin collecting, the story of the 1996 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance but has the potential to change your life forever, with a current market value reported as high as $89,355. Now, before we begin, let me ask you this: have you ever picked up a penny and tossed it aside without even looking at it, thinking it was just worth a single cent? If so, you are not alone. Millions of people handle pennies every day without realizing that hidden treasures could be right in their pocket change. Today we are going to uncover the full history of the Lincoln penny, why the 1996 no-mint mark coin is so valuable, and how you could possibly find one in circulation. Let us start by going back in time to the origins of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the very first coin in United States history to feature a real person's portrait on the obverse side, and it was designed by Victor David Brenner. This was a major turning point because before that, coins usually carried images of liberty or symbolic designs, but never a real person. Lincoln's face on the penny immediately gave it popularity and respect. Through the years, the Lincoln cent has gone through several changes, from the original wheat ears reverse design from 1909 to 1958 to the familiar Lincoln Memorial design introduced in 1959, and then later to the shield reverse design in 2010. Each change marked a chapter in American history, but through all these decades the penny remained a staple in pockets, purses, and piggy banks across the nation. Now let us zoom in on the year 1996. By this time the Lincoln Memorial reverse was still being used, and the penny was being struck in large numbers at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Coins made in Philadelphia generally carry no mint mark, but here is the detail that makes 1996 so special. While most Philadelphia minted coins are common, the no mint mark era penny from this year is considered exceptionally rare because of certain striking anomalies and very limited survival numbers. You see, mint marks are tiny letters on coins that identify the mint where they were produced. P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But in 1996 something unusual happened. A very small batch of Lincoln cents left the mint without a mint mark at all. While some no mint mark coins are standard for Philadelphia production, collectors identified a specific 1996 issue that carried certain features combined with errors that elevated its value tremendously. Collectors around the world soon began to notice that not all pennies from 1996 were created equal. While billions were struck and circulated for just 1 cent value, the small number of no mint mark rarities became objects of intense fascination in the numismatic community. What makes this coin so valuable is not just its missing mint mark, but also the condition and rarity in which it is found. Many of these coins disappeared into circulation unnoticed, but a handful that survived in pristine condition ended up commanding staggering prices at auctions. Imagine holding a penny that looks just like any other copper-plated zinc coin, only to discover that it has the power to fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction. That is the kind of magic and thrill that coin collecting brings. The 1996 no mint mark Lincoln penny is valued today at as much as $89,355, depending on its grade, rarity, and collector demand. That is an astronomical amount for a coin that was originally worth just a cent. Now let us talk a bit about the physical details of the coin. It weighs about 2.5 grams, is made of a zinc core with a copper plating, and carries the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, designed by Brenner. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial standing tall with great detail and tiny representations of Lincoln inside the statue. These design elements are what give the coin its beauty, but the missing mint mark error is what gives it its fortune. Why would a coin like this sell for so much? Well, there are several reasons. First, scarcity plays a big role. Coins that are difficult to find in high-grade conditions are always desirable. Second, historical intrigue drives collectors to bid high when an anomaly is discovered. Third, the emotional factor cannot be ignored. Collectors are often willing to pay incredible amounts to complete their collections and secure a coin that few others will ever own. Over the years, auction houses have reported some jaw-dropping results for high-grade 1996 no mint mark pennies. Stories circulate of lucky finders who pulled one of these coins from circulation and later discovered they were sitting on a small fortune. This is why so many people today take the time to look carefully at their change and search through old jars of coins sitting in their homes. You never know when one coin could turn into a life-changing discovery. Let us also consider the journey of a coin like this. How did it survive in mint state condition all these years? How did it manage to escape heavy circulation without scratches, wear and tear, or discoloration? Only the luckiest pieces managed to remain untouched, often being set aside in mint sets, coin rolls, or collections before people even realized their potential. These coins later surfaced in the numismatic market and shocked collectors with their incredible value. The story of the 1996 no mint mark penny is also a reminder of how important grading is in the world of coins. A coin that looks flawless to the naked eye may still carry microscopic imperfections. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC examine these coins under magnification and assign them a grade from 1 to 70. Coins graded 65 and above, especially those in mint state red designation, can achieve astronomical values. This is why if you think you might have a rare penny, it is always worth getting it professionally graded. A small investment in grading could turn an ordinary-looking penny into a certified treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. Now imagine for a moment you are holding one of these rare 1996 no mint mark Lincoln cents. You take it to a coin shop or auction house and watch the reactions of experts as they realize what you have in your hand. The bidding begins, and suddenly what you thought was just a penny becomes a coin valued at nearly $90,000. It is the kind of story that keeps collectors hunting, searching, and dreaming. So what should you do if you want to search for one of these coins? Start by checking any jars of old change lying around in your home. Look through rolls of pennies from the bank and pay attention to The details when examining coins. Always check for mint marks, dates, and conditions. Do not dismiss any penny just because it looks ordinary. Treasures are often hidden in plain sight. Another key tip is to use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to carefully examine coins' details. Sometimes the smallest differences separate a regular coin from one worth a fortune. Lighting conditions are also important, because errors or anomalies may only be visible under close inspection. Let us pause here and reflect on something deeper. Coins like the 1996 no mint mark penny are not just valuable objects, they are also pieces of history. Every coin tells a story of the time it was made, of the economy, of the minting process, and of the people who used it in daily life. Coins pass through countless hands, they are carried through decades of change, and yet some survive as historical artifacts that command our fascination and admiration. The Lincoln cent itself is a story of American resilience. It has survived over a century of changes, economic shifts, and political transformations, and yet it continues to circulate as one of the most enduring symbols of American currency. As we continue our journey in this video, let us think about the passion of coin collectors worldwide. These are people who dedicate their lives to studying minting processes, varieties, errors, and historical significance. They scour flea markets, estate sales, and coin shows, searching for that one rare gem that could complete their collection or make history when it sells at auction. For the 1996 no mint mark penny, its place in numismatic history is secure. Collectors will remember it as one of those unexpected rarities that turned an ordinary year into a remarkable story, and as more people become aware of its value, the demand and prices are only likely to increase. Friends, when you look at a penny from now on, do not see it as just a cent, see it as a potential treasure chest waiting to be discovered. Think of the countless possibilities and remember that hidden fortune could be sitting right in your change. The next time you stop at a store, receive coins as change, or roll pennies with your kids, take a moment to look closely, because you never know if you might be holding the next rare and valuable coin just waiting to be discovered. In conclusion, the 1996 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It is a lesson in patience, observation, and the rewards of paying attention to the little things in life. From a face value of just 1 cent to a market value soaring above $89,000, this coin is a true numismatic treasure. So keep your eyes open, keep searching, and who knows, maybe one day you will be the lucky finder of this remarkable piece of history and fortune. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed learning about this incredible coin, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more amazing coin stories, treasures, and discoveries that could be hiding in plain sight.